Yo! Welcome to the show, BroMob. We're your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today is September 23rd, and man, what a awful week.
It was terrible. Holy crap.
Let me bring it back a bit. It was a wonderful week for fantasy for me. But terrible for the rest of the world for every other purpose possible. Just because of all the terrible stuff that happened.
Yeah, it was I think there was like a couple guys that got injured this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe ones or twosies.
Twosy threesies.
Yeah, we might be talking about the 5s, 6s that might have happened.
Yeah, it was not a good week, BroMob. A lot of guys got injured. If you're a Saquon Barkley fan, I guess, and owner, not a good week for him, and also maybe not for Christian McCaffrey and about 18 other guys. So, holy crap.
Yeah, we're going to be going through a list of them here in a little bit. But yeah, it was not a good week.
No, it wasn't.
There were some points. There were some points to be had, though.
Oh, it was.
We'll leave that.
It was a monster fantasy point week. There were a lot of fantasy points. You know what I'm surprised at so far? There have been a lot of stud fantasy quarterbacks this year. Like quarterbacks are putting up some points.
Yeah, they're going off.
Yeah, I just wonder when it's going to end. You knock it off.
Never.
Defenses need to wake up. Wake up, defenses. Wake up.
Stop getting injured.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
we got a lot to talk about. We're not even gonna, we're not even gonna pander.
No pandering.
Wander.
No pandering.
What are you doing? What are you doing with the hands?
I'm begging for change.
Spider-Man? Spider-Man shooting webs?
Spider-Man. No pandering, just swinging from vines.
Oh, okay.
That's not Spider-Man. That's as in swinging from vines. Spider-Man. Definitely not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Same thing.
Wait, is there a guy that shoots vines from his hands?
There needs to be.
Isn't that Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing shoots. I feel like would shoot vines from his hands.
Swamp Thing shoots a lot of things.
Wait, what?
Mostly vines.
Swamp Thing shoots a lot of things. Quote Chad Davidson. On with the show.
All right, let's move on. Be sure to follow along after the show, BroMob, by following us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcast. Check out our TikTok page at Fantasy Football Bros. Search for the valuable hashtag BroMob for all kinds of fun things, news, advice, articles, pretty much everything that's out there in the world. We talk about it. And be sure to check out our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of news, articles, and so much more. Got a lot to talk about, Brian. Let's get right into it with our news.
Keanu.
Oh, I love Keanu. I don't love what comes next, though.
BroMob, I gotta tell you, BroMob, if you don't watch us on YouTube, you're missing out on a lot of Keanu Reeves' face just coming at you in all directions.
Yeah. All right, BroMob, we're going to talk about injury apocalypse.
Injury apocalypse.
Okay. Two pennies that drop cost.
Yes.
two pennies, and it definitely and it 100% showed.
Yes. Brian, I'm gonna go through a list, and it's not gonna sound good. Starting off with Christian McCaffrey, high ankle sprain. He should be out 4 to 6 weeks. No bueno. Saquon Barkley, torn ACL, out for the season. I'm just going to go through these, Brian. We're going to talk reaction afterwards. Okay. Cortland Sutton, torn ACL, out for the season, right after he got back from injury. In the same game, Drew Lock, sprained AC joint. He's going to be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. They're hoping they have a bye week, week 8. they're hoping to get him back before then, if not, maybe by then. So half the season gone. Jimmy Garoppolo, high ankle sprain. Typically, just like CMC, that's a 4 to 6 week injury. We'll see how he pans out there. Devontae Adams, hamstring injury, possibly missing this next coming week, week 3. Raheem Mostert, sprained MCL, also possibly missing. Tyrod Taylor disappeared before the beginning of the game. Justin Herbert started, big game there, but Tyrod Taylor has a chest injury, possibly not playing again this coming week. Paris Campbell, I'm just going through massive list of injuries. Paris Campbell, knee injury to the IR. Will Fuller, hamstring like every single year. He got no points. He had a bad week. Brian, this was a terrible week. Instant reaction, I hate it. This is terrible for fantasy managers out there all over the world who put in all the time and the effort to draft these guys. If you were a top 2 pick, you likely took CMC or Barkley, and you are likely now in a world of hurt. Like this, it changes the entire outlook of your season, especially if you're in paid leagues. Like, this hurts.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. So the one that hurts the most personally is CMC because league of record, he's my guy. So here's what I did read today about CMC is that he wants to be extremely transparent about the injury. And he has a personal goal to get back sooner than the 4 to 6 week timeline. And the encouraging part to me is that he was able to kind of play in the game with it a little bit. Like I believe he actually scored a touchdown after the injury had already taken place. So one, pain management, he clearly can handle the pain a little bit, but 2, I would say he, one, he's a freak of nature. So Saquon Barkley came back from this same injury last season after 3 weeks, and they quoted a 4 to 6 week timeline as well. I think CMC could come back. I'm hoping that he does, but I'm also hoping that he is very healthy when he does, because I would hate to see it re-aggravated. But Saquon Barkley did come back from it in 3 weeks last year. He did show signs of being a little hobbled for a few weeks before he was actually healthy, and then he went berserko to finish the season. So, yeah, McCaffrey owners, don't panic. Stay the course with him. I would not, Chad. I would not be trading Christian McCaffrey for anything right now, unless you're getting like Alvin Kamara or a top 5 back for him in return. I'm not pivoting.
No, not at all. But if you're on the other side and you're not a manager of Christian McCaffrey, it's fair game.
Absolutely.
Go out there and exploit the possibly overreacting manager.
Yep.
Try to get this stud on your team.
Yeah, because there's a real scenario here where Christian McCaffrey could be back week 5 or week 6, and I would rather have an 8% Christian McCaffrey than a no percent Christian McCaffrey on my Catholic with a TH apparently.
Catheter.
Christian McCatheter. Christian McCatheter in me pito. So,
I just imagined like it zooming in on somebody's face, and they're like,
"Oh God, hey. Terrible, absolutely terrible." So yeah, if you're not a Christian McCaffrey owner, you should be trying to acquire Christian McCaffrey as much as possible.
Yeah. Barkley out. Team signs Devonta Freeman instantly. Shows that a lot of people saying it's not faith in Deion Lewis. I think it's a little bit of that, but also at the same time, it's just no depth on this team.
Yeah, it's a depth sign.
Yeah,
I do believe
the scratch in that game. So they need somebody.
That's correct. I do believe that Devonta Freeman was signed for just $3 million. So the lack of, he turned down a lot more than this Supposedly. But anyway, long story short, $3 million. He's there. He's a waiver pickup for sure. I mean, you got to pick him up. The team is paying him. However, they didn't pay him all that much. So my initial reaction is this might be a timeshare back there.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what we just saw Leonard Fournette get paid. It's what we saw, I believe, Todd Gurley get paid down there in Atlanta. So, I mean, it's kind of like the bare minimum for a veteran running back that we're seeing go on right now. So, worth a pickup. I don't think he's worth a start. He's been gone for some time. Might take some time. Deion Lewis is probably the start there, and I still don't want to start him. It's no bueno all around.
Wow.
This is a very ugly Giants offense now.
Yeah, another ugly offense is this Broncos offense now. You know, you have no Drew Lock. I do, yeah. I as a matter of fact, I think all of this is incredibly encouraging for Melvin Gordon.
Oh, okay.
I think Melvin Gordon's going to eat. I think so. I think Melvin Gordon's going to eat.
Okay.
That's just kind of my feeling. I mean, you have no Sutton. You have a rookie wide receiver there. You have, your defense is decimated.
Two rookies, a wide receiver.
Two rookie wide receivers and a rookie tight end.
Second year tight end.
I'm sorry. Yes. Second year. Noah Fant. Sorry. Second year tight end. And I just think that, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not looking to acquire anybody on that Broncos offense right now. Other than maybe Melvin Gordon, but even then, Lindsey's going to come back at some point and he's going to get more involved again. And, it's a backfield in an offense that I don't know. I'm not excited about anybody other than Noah Fant. I'm not excited about anybody on that team.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm really excited about Noah Fant. Driscoll seemed to want to throw his way frequently. So I like that a lot. What I don't like is the 49ers anymore. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo bound to miss some time. George Kittle's been missing time. I don't see George Kittle coming back because they're playing at MetLife again. They complained about it quite a bit. Most of their team got injured on it. Raheem Mostert's gone, at least for a week. It's a nightmare situation.
Here's an interesting
in trouble.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing. How can MetLife's field be bad? It's a turf field.
They already tested it. The NFL's come out and said that it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Every field gets inspected 48 hours before every game for field conditions, and it passed, just like every other field has. So I don't know what they're complaining about. I don't know what's going on.
It's a turf. It's turf. It's a turf field. It's not real grass.
Before the season, their whole team their training staff apparently fell asleep during the offseason.
I don't know. It's tough. It's I get it. I mean, you're upset. Your players get injured, but come on, playing on the field. Get out of here. It's football.
Get out of here. Devonta Adams, it's the last guy I'm going to talk about. If he misses any time, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we saw two different versions of him in that game, right? At the very beginning with Tay, he was playing pretty good. When Tay went to the sideline, things changed a bit. And it's clear as day. It's an A and a B with Rodgers when he has Devonta Adams on the offense and when he has him on the sideline. So Aaron Jones likes to feast, though. Whenever that happens.
Yeah, he does. Here's a question, Chad. I know we want to move on here and get into week 3 stuff here, but my question is Justin Herbert a good stream this week? I mean, if Tyrod's not going to go, let's just say Tyrod doesn't go again, and they're at home again. against Carolina.
Yep.
What do you think about Herbert?
I don't trust playing a rookie, even if he had a good outing. He's definitely a high risk, high reward type of play. But at the same time, I'm not feeling it. So if you want to start him, Brian, I want you go right ahead.
No, I'm not starting him, but I do think if you're in a situation where you have let's just say you have a really rough matchup, and you're looking for a stream option this week, or you're streaming period because that's what you're doing on the year. I think you could do worse than Justin Herbert week 3 against Carolina at home. They're at home, they're indoors. Carolina, Kansas City's a talented defense. 22 completions on 33 attempts, 300 yards and a touchdown. And he rushed one in so he can move with his legs. Again, for a streaming option, I like the ability to be able to move with your legs. He ran the ball 4 times for 18 yards, and one of those being a touchdown. So I like the ability to scramble a little bit. Like I said, I think you could find worse options than Herbert. So we're not going to talk about him in the show after this. I didn't see his name anywhere in our notes after this, but it's just somebody that, as you're looking at Tyrod on the injury list, you look at the matchup, like I said, I think you could do worse. And he's definitely out there in redraft.
With some bigger names is the funny thing. Some bigger names would do worse, I think, this week.
Yeah, 100%. I think Herbert is, look, again, a stream is somebody that you're looking for at least 250 and 2 touchdowns on the day. I think Herbert's good for that. I think he's good for 250 and 2.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into our week 2 surprises and letdowns for the week. That's surprising. Nothing better than that. Good old smoothness. Let's start with our letdowns, Brian, because we started with surprises last week. So I'm gonna talk letdowns on my end, and I'm gonna hand it over to you. How you feel about that?
Well, I don't know that I have a choice, so let's do it.
Yep, you do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. Alrighty then. So letdowns. Big name. I was expecting a massive week from this running back. As a matter of fact, I was hoping that not even just hoping. I thought for sure he was going to have the RB1 week this week in week 2, and that is Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. He only put up 8.4 points against Jacksonville. And look, he should have had a much better game. They were using him quite. He had over 20 carries again in this game. Last week before that, he had over 30 carries. So I'm kind of seeing a slower, I don't want to say slower, but a little knocking off the rust from offseason Derrick Henry right now. He's only averaging right around 3.5 yards per carry, which is not the 5 that we're used to seeing from him. So I'm expecting a bounce back week from him this coming week, but it was not a good showing in week 2 from Derrick Henry. Another bad showing for me was Mr. Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with 8.3 fantasy points in the week and half point. Look, it wasn't because of the matchup. We saw Deontay Johnson and we saw Chase Claypool go off in this game. Both of them were top 10 wide receivers for the week. Actually, I think Chase Claypool was the 11th wide receiver, but Deontay was a top 10. Chase Claypool was the 11. Juju was way down there in the 30s, maybe even the 40s, I think it was, for the week. So it was a disappointing week. I was expecting more from the talented wide receiver, but definitely some better weeks to come. And then finally, the last letdown for me was Tom Brady. What's going on? He connected with Mike Evans early and then nothing else after that. 9.68 fantasy points against Carolina. This is not a good defense. Not a good defense at all, but they looked like a good one for a little bit there against Tom Brady. So I understand he's trying to mesh and gel with this offense that he hasn't had much time with. There's no offseason that occurred, so he's trying to learn a little bit from this new play caller and Bruce Arians, figuring out what's going on there. But I don't like what I've seen from him so far in weeks 1 and 2. Hopefully he can pull things together against Denver in week 3 and maybe come back to the Tom Brady of old with Chris Godwin coming back and being healthy and playing, and so he has the full arsenal there of everybody. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I was not impressed with what Tom Brady did in week 2.
Yeah, so I just think that I think Brady's still like they're still trying to put that system together. So I heard this the other day. The team this past week, the team celebrated their 1 month anniversary since their first practice together. I mean, it's 30 days together. So I think we got to give this time to marinate and kind of gel. Ooh. And I think that after about 4 or 5 weeks here of gameplay and practices further, I just think they continue to get better as an offense. And Brady will probably have some big games coming up here. Also, throw it out there, he hasn't had a full strength offense yet. Week 1, Evans, Evans was in, but Evans was just really a decoy, hobbled decoy. Week 2, he's missing Godwin. So this week 3 coming up here, he will be the first week he's had them probably both at full strength on the field. Hopefully Godwin's not just a decoy. We'll monitor that as the week progresses. And if for some reason we think Godwin might be somebody you want to get out of your lineup, we'll definitely let you know on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. All right, Brian, tell me about your letdowns for the week.
Well, so like yourself, I had a couple or a few. So Malcolm Brown, running back of the LA Rams, hit a huge first week. And then after this, was really expecting more. He was clearly the better runner on the field week 1 against Dallas. Then you come into week 2 and he's much less involved. It's a split backfield with Henderson. And so I was really shocked at that. I thought for sure Malcolm Brown was going to kind of continue from week 2 just to, ride the hot hand until it's, not hot anymore. But Henderson comes in, he out carries Brown, and Malcolm Brown has kind of a very blah meh week. And so I'm sure everybody that picked him up and anybody that may have started him this week probably regrets doing so. So Malcolm Brown was a letdown for me. And what scares me most going forward, Chad, is I think Malcolm Brown could be one of those in one of these backfields that's, I hate to say it, it's like a 2-headed, 3-headed monster where they just kind of flip around each week. They play matchups. It reminds me of like a Bill Belichick offense there in New England where they just, they run different running backs in there every week. You don't really know who to start. And that's the scary part about this, this defense or this offense. So Malcolm Brown, kind of a letdown to me. Jordan Howard, another guy, not just this week, but on this season that I'm kind of disappointed with. And really, I guess it goes down to, you look at Jordan Howard. This was a backfield. I expected him to win handsomely pre-week 1. The reports were that he was the lead back and would be the starter and the primary carrier. And it just really hasn't happened. It's really kind of odd to me as you look at his production. I mean, you're talking 5 carries this past week for 4 yards. He got in the end zone, saved his week. If you happen to had to start him, which I doubt very few people did, but if you happen to have him in there, he saved your week with a touchdown again. Look, Jordan Howard is a sell now if you can type candidate. And with all these running back and player injuries, he's a guy I definitely would try to shop if you can. If you can get an offer for him, go for it. I just don't know that anybody's going to want him. Like I said, I mean, 5 carries, 4 yards, and a touchdown. He's 2 touchdowns on the year. That's the only thing that's keeping him relevant. Those touchdowns go away. There's nothing. He's less than probably 2-3 points. So Jordan Howard, definitely a guy I'm disappointed in. I expected a lot more from him in Miami. And then the last guy here is a big name, Austin Hooper, tight end for the now Cleveland Browns. And Chad, here's what's really upsetting about Austin Hooper is on the season. These are not 1 game stats. This is on the season. We're talking 6 targets for 37 yards and no touchdowns. Yeah. This is a guy that was a top 5, top 7 tight end on the season last year. barely even relevant. And my question to Cleveland is, why did you even bother to sign him? What was the point?
No idea.
If you're not going to use the guy, you paid him a boatload of money. He's one of the top paid tight ends in the league. You're not even using him. I just don't understand. It goes back to my questions about some of these teams like Chicago. Why did you sign Tariq Cohen and then not even play him? Like 30, I think the stat was like 36% of the snaps. Like,
I don't get it.
What are these teams doing? You pay all this guy money, you don't even play him. Same thing with Austin Hooper. You pay him a boatload of money, and then you don't even use him. Like, what? Why are you wasting money when you could be signing other guys? Like, why? I don't know. It's frustrating to me when I see stuff like this, because Austin Hooper is incredibly talented, and the stuff he could be doing inside the red zone for them, I'm sure they could do better. And so it's just a little scratch my head a little bit.
Yeah, I don't get it either. He's not much of a blocking tight end.
No,
and the team wants to run the ball, so I don't understand it either. It's very weird. All right, Brian, we're gonna move into our surprises just so we can keep the show rolling here.
Sure.
You already mentioned this name, Darrell Henderson.
Yeah,
19.1 fantasy points used, not just on the ground but in the air. It was an impressive week. He had a really good week. Looked efficient. I think he averaged like 9 yards a carry. It was something crazy. I don't see it continuing. This is just an offense that's going to be, like you said already, a nightmare. Malcolm Brown's going to be the weak guy 1 week. Darrell Henderson. Cam Akers is hurt, but when he's healthy, he's going to be the guy some weeks.
Right.
I don't want any part of it. And the problem is I have Cam Akers in a couple leagues. Now I'm disappointed in it. I knew it wasn't going to be a good situation with him. But good word. It's a nightmare, but it was a surprise. A good week.
Yeah, I'm with you on. I'm with you on. By the way, I'll let you get into the other ones, but he's on my list too. And I don't. Again, I mean, is he worth a pickup? Sure, but you can't start him. You can't start him right now because you don't know who to start on that offense. I have to see more. And in 2 weeks, I'm left scratching my head with that backfield.
Yeah. He needs to be picked up.
Sure.
Because the offense clearly can produce a top 10 running back on a normal basis. It's going to be a nightmare to figure it out, but if another player gets injured, that player becomes a top 10 producer. Obviously, this offensive line is incredible.
Yeah.
So, speaking of incredible, undrafted free agent James Robinson, who is with the Jacksonville Jaguars, is a top 15 running back in the season so far. And he had a 19.5 point effort in week 2. Brian, is he a sell candidate, or do you think this is something that he could continue to do? I mean, we got Raquel Armstead coming back from COVID list here soon, or COVID IR, I should say, soon. He's bound to get worked in, but the team clearly has faith in James Robinson, stating that one of the reasons they let Leo go in the offseason was because of James Robinson kind of emerging during offseason programs. So is this something that's sustainable from him? Not 19.5, but maybe a top a running back 2 production type of player. Is this sustainable for him?
That's the scary part, right? You just don't know. And like you said, Armstead's going to come back. I look back to the past, and they've always stuck with one dude. It's always been Leonard Fournette when he was healthy. I think Robinson, as long as he can stay healthy and the production's still there, I don't see any reason why you can't look at him in the same production light as you saw Leonard Fournette. The team clearly believes in him. They said that his offseason was the reason they decided to let go of Leo, like you said. 19.5 points this past week. He's a top 15 back. I would do this. If you can find somebody that believes he's going to break out further, and you can upgrade Robinson paired with like a light wide receiver to go get, here's a great idea, Christian McCaffrey. The McCaffrey owners might be willing to pivot. The Saquon Barkley owners might be willing to let go of somebody to let that you can upgrade to. So if you can upgrade him, great. But I mean, if you've got a guy like Dalvin Cook or Nick Chubb, or you're rocking out with Derrick Henry, and you happen to grab Robinson late, this guy's gonna. I have a feeling he's gonna be a league winner for a lot of people.
Could be.
So if you're one of those people, I would stay the course.
Yeah, he's great in the flex so far.
So far, yeah. I have no reason to think he'll be anything other than what he's been so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, staying with the same team. My other surprise is Gardner Minshew. I mean, Detective Minshew himself
looks great.
He's solving the crimes.
He looks great this year.
He's coming in, smoking cigs, taking swigs of whatever it is, and he's just ruining teams. Barely lost to the Titans at 30-33.
I was rooting for him.
Entire game. It was a fun game to watch. He had 25.46 fantasy points. I mean, which was 9th for the week. Right now, he's a QB2. I think he's ranked at 15. Look, Gardner Minshew is a good play. We had it in our key to the title. He has a very cake first 4 weeks of the season, and it continues this coming week. I'm going to talk about it later on. Just a little bit of foreshadowing there. But the detective is solving crime all over the place. He's doing great.
Yeah, so far, love him. And Chad, I'll move on here. So a guy that really surprised me this week and has surprised me this season so far, Jonnu Smith, tight end for the Tennessee Titans. Look, 4 catches, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns on the week. Okay, in one game. That's not bad. 12 targets so far this year, Chad. 8 receptions, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This guy is a monster. And this week, he draws up a matchup against Minnesota, who just let Mo Alley-Cox, that's right, Mo Alley-Cox of the Indianapolis Colts, ladies and gentlemen, go for 5 and 111. 5 catches and 111 on him. So fire up your Jonnu's. I mean, here's the deal, Chad. Jonnu Smith, this guy needs to be rostered. Only rostered in 51.5% of ESPN leagues right now. He's in my opinion, number 1 waiver claim this year or this week. Has to be the number 1 waiver claim. This guy's the number 1 tight end this guy's number 1 tight end on the season right now.
I think everyone's going for whoever between Mike Davis, Deion Lewis, and Devonta Freeman, and that's a mistake. They need to be going for this tight end position.
Hey, great.
He's clearly a favorite target.
Jonnu is a guy that I'm willing to spend at least, I rarely do I do this, but I'd be willing to spend 25% fab because the tight end position is so important. Like, because it falls off so quickly. So it's so rare to get a top 5 tight end caliber guy. This guy has, again, I'm going to repeat it. 12 freaking targets in 2 weeks. Now, there's only one tight end really that I can think of that has more targets than that. And he probably just got 12. I think he got 12 in one freaking game. And that's Darren Waller, which blew. Yeah. That guy is unbelievable. The talent is out there. I'd say he's top 4 tight ends in the league right now.
Being paid less than Austin Hooper.
Yeah, exactly. Come on with that. And so, at the end of the day, like I said, really impressed with Jonnu Smith. Another guy, and I'm going to stay in the same position. Yep. Another guy, and again, BroMob, this is a guy you need to go out and get, is tight end Mike Gesicki. And, this week, I believe Mike Gesicki had, 130 yards and a touchdown. That's what it was. Yep. So you're talking – first game, not all that impressive. He had 3 catches for 30 yards, but 130 on the day and a touchdown kind of reminds you of how he finished last year. He finished as one of the top tight ends on the season in that last 6-7 games of the year. He was a rig. He won a lot of people fantasy titles last year. So don't forget about this guy. Also, 53.2% owned in ESPN leagues. So this guy is available out there widely in a lot of leagues. Go get him. If you can't get Jonnu, go get Gesicki. All right. If you're hurting, if you're here, I got a great piece of advice. If you're one of those guys that drafted Rob Gronkowski, I'm talking to you. Mike Gesicki
earlier.
Mike Gesicki's out there.
In general. We have a guy that we know.
Yeah, we have this dude, okay, over here. We call him the Gesick. Because he's so good at Gesicki. All right?
I hated it.
I hate everything, but don't worry, just roll with it, all right? Shh. Mike Gesicki is your guy, all right? Go get him out there and win so many games it makes the rest of your league Gesicki. I'm gonna keep going with it. I got you want another one?
Move.
All right. Move. So my last guy, wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Look, man, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver rookie coming in. I'm gonna say right now that Blake Jarwin's injury, I think, is going to help him a lot moving forward. 9 targets, 6 catches, 106 yards on the day against Atlanta. Chad, CeeDee Lamb's on 120 target pace on the year right now.
Yep.
I mean, those, I think you would agree, those are elite numbers. Like if you
look good,
those are elite numbers, guys. Those are wide receiver 1 target numbers.
Yep.
He's the slot receiver, which typically gets more targets anyway. And he's turning, passes into magic. This kid is wide open all the time. He's ridiculous. Again, I said earlier in the season that I thought CeeDee Lamb is going to take over as the number 1 wide receiver on that team starting next year. That could happen starting week 7 or 8, like this year. Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
I think he may be the most talented wide receiver on the team right now. Okay. So here's my advice on this one. If you do not have CeeDee Lamb, you should go trade for him right now. Okay. And here's why. Playoff schedule, weeks 14, 15, and 16. I know it's a little early to talk about that, but better early than late. Okay.
Never too early.
At Cincinnati, home against the 49ers, whose defense you hear 49ers, like, oh, 49ers defense is decimated right now.
Yes.
Okay. And home against Philadelphia, who may be one of the worst teams in the league right now. They look hideous. So
they're terrible. Look,
don't tell me for 1 second that Philadelphia game is a championship game, Chad. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to win people a lot of championships. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to go absolutely bonkers against Philadelphia that Week 16 game. Everyone's going to be the Eagles are going to be trying to shut down Zeke. They're going to be trying to shut down Amari Cooper. CeeDee Lamb is going to go bonkers. If he could start getting touchdowns, he's a PPR. I mean, look, again, 6 receptions on the day. He had, I think, 4 or 5 receptions the week before. He's a PPR stud. If he can start getting in the end zone, oh my God, it's game over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love CeeDee.
Yeah,
I liked him last week, or that's why I called him for one of my starts. I mean,
you called him personally?
He surprised to me. Yeah, I called him. I said, "Yo, dude, come on."
Did you play the Lamb sound for him?
I played it for too long.
That's why he was going to go off for 150. He went off for 106 instead. Way to go, dude.
Yes.
Too much Lamb.
He kept it back. All right, Brian, let's move on to our grand slams and whiffs for the week. The Fantasy Football Bros grand slams and whiffs. Forgot that awesome music was there. So
I just literally started jamming out to the music. Forgot we were recording right there.
I did actually. I was just
I saw it in your face.
Speaking of jamming out, I was jamming out all week. Everybody that I talked about was a hit, except for maybe one player. And I'll talk about him in a little bit. But I mean, I said that Will Fuller was a sit. He scored 0 points. I said CeeDee Lamb was a start. Had 100 yards receiving. I told you to start Ryan Tannehill. I told you the best stream of the week was Joe Burrow. I can go down the list, BroMob. I did great, Brian, I know you didn't do too well.
Yeah, look,
Here's
the deal. I will gloat till there's no gloat left when I'm right, but I also will admit when I'm wrong. And man,
Yes.
I've had a rough start to the season this year with my starts and sits and my streams. So BroMob, if you're listening to me, and I know you guys expect better, and I'm working on it. We're working to do better. Okay, so thought we had some grand slams this past week. We did have one. Okay, one or two, actually we had a couple, but so I would say Mitch Trubisky, which was my stream of the week at the quarterback position, had a decent game in leagues across the board here. 15.2 points on the day. That's kind of right at the bottom of where you want. Really expected a better game. 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. The 2 picks really hurt. So Mitch is good for that sometimes. I thought for sure he'd have more passing yards, but so that was a decent play. And then Jonathan Taylor was my grand slam. 26 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown on the day. He added 2 catches for 9 yards, 18 points and half-point PPR. Not a bad play as well. So very proud of that. Chad, I'm going to roll right into my duds since we are talking about some of my misses here. Guys, I'm just going to say it. Tom Brady, my bad. All right. Thought for sure Carolina Panthers. Oh my God, this is going to be a dream made in heaven. I thought Mike Evans is going to have like 18 touchdowns. Not the case. He had 1, and that was literally how many touchdowns Tom Brady threw. So 217 yards, 1 touchdown on the day, and I think he added a pick in there as well. 8.68 fantasy points. We got to do better, BroMob, and we will. Also, I will throw in there that Manny Sanders. What just happened? Chad, what is going on with Manny Sanders? 1 catch. He had 3 targets, 1 catch, 18 yards, 2.3 fantasy points in half-point PPR on the day. That is not what I expected.
No.
I'm at a loss here on this guy.
Yeah, everybody else is too, who played him, because I'm sure he didn't help at all.
No. Here's the deal. I thought, okay, week 1, it was against Tampa Bay. Michael Thomas is there still. It was a scheme situation. They didn't get the ball to him much. I thought for sure he'd be more involved. This week, no Michael Thomas. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Great. Now is when he's going to have his monster game, because Manny Sanders is good for that monster game, when he needs it. 3 targets, Drew Brees? 3 targets.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very clear with you. I don't know if this is a Manny Sanders problem. I think it is a Drew Brees problem. Drew Brees only threw the ball 3 times to him. You can't tell me that Manny Sanders is better than that or worse than that. Like he's got to be better than that. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just Drew Brees can't get the ball down the field to him, and it makes me wonder. Like, I don't know that I want to own anybody on this New Orleans offense other than Alvin Kamara right now. Michael Thomas didn't have he had an okay first game. It wasn't very Michael Thomas-y. Is that a word? Michael Thomas-y? I'm going to look it up.
It is now.
But I mean, at the end of the day, look, I expect better numbers.
Is that what you're doing?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Michael Thomas-y, not a word.
Look it up on your phone in front of you.
No, Michael Thomas literally had 3 catches for 17 yards week 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, injury happened, and maybe that had something to do with that. Or maybe Drew Brees can't get it down the field anymore. Because it certainly does not look like he can.
Yeah. But he certainly does love Alvin Kamara. So there's that.
This is huge news for Kamara.
It's massive news. But not good news. It's Ronald Jones. Look, I said to start him. He didn't kill you. So he had 7 carries, 23 yards. He added the touchdown, and then they started giving the ball to Leonard Fournette, who looked really bad at first. And then he took 1 carry for like a 50-yard touchdown, salvaged his day, and now Leonard Fournette fans rejoice. Everyone's talking Leonard Fournette now, but Ronald Jones still, it was a split backfield between the 2 of them for this game for the most part. So the 9.7 fantasy points from Ronald Jones didn't kill you, but it wasn't the type of start I was looking for against the Carolina Panthers defense that allows running backs to score 30 points against them almost on a weekly basis. So a little disappointed there. So BroMob, let's get out of week 2 and let's move into week 3 and let's talk week 3 starts and sits right meow.
I'm ready to go in, coach. Just give me a chance. I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological.
All right. Let's get going with our starts. I'm going to start it off here because I am the best. Brian's the worst.
There. So far I have been. That's for sure.
Very, very bad. And let's give golden advice here. Wide receiver start for me. I'm staying with Dallas. I'm not staying with CD. I'm going to Amari. Amari Cooper versus the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's about to have himself a day. And look, the Seahawks haven't been able to guard anybody. Julian Edelman just went off against them the week before that. Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Russell Gage. All 3 of those Atlanta Falcons receivers were able to go off against them. And I'm on board. I think all 3 wide receivers for the Dallas Cowboys could go off against this defense. But I'm looking to Amari Cooper to have the biggest game. I think he might even come away with 2 touchdowns in it. I think he's a top 5, if not a top 2 wide receiver option for the week. I'm going to move over to running back Brian. And I'm going to talk Kenyon Drake, Arizona Cardinals against the Detroit Lions. Hello, Aaron Jones just went completely bonkers against them. Yep. And I'm looking for Kenyon Drake to bounce back. Look, he's had some rough week 1. He's had a rough week 2. Maybe some fantasy managers are out there like, I don't want to keep Kenyon Drake in there. He's killing me. He's killing me every single week. This isn't the week to put him on the bench, BroMob. This is the week to keep him in that starting lineup and to smoke your fantasy opponent. He's going to go absolutely bazonker donkers against this defense. That's right, bazonker donkers. New word, look it up. Kenyon Drake, love him. Get in your lineups. If you can, I would even try to trade for him right now because those managers are unhappy at the moment. And you can be very happy. Come on, let's get happy. Is that how the song goes? I don't know. Making me happy. I hate everything. Quarterback. Look, this is my quarterback. He's a stream, and he is this quarterback start of the week for me. So I'm claiming him as both. Gardner Minshew of the Jacksonville Jaguars against Miami. Brian, you already mentioned it before. He's only rostered in 24.9% of leagues right now. What is going on? I don't think you actually mentioned that. I'm first time ever mentioning it right now to everybody in the world. Gardner Minshew needs to be rostered by you, and you need to be playing him this week against Miami because they let everybody go off against them, and he is going to solve that crime down there in the Vice Town itself. Gardner Minshew, Detective Minshew, solving crimes. What?
The Vice Town. Oh boy. What? That's absolutely terrible. No, I look here. I'll stay on Minshew just real quick. He's also my stream, so I'm going to skip him later. But yeah, Minshew again, 29%. You got to start the shoe this week. If you got a rough matchup at quarterback, you're looking to kind of plug and play a guy, or you're just streaming. Like I said, there's 2 quarterbacks I'm looking at this week. Minshew is one of them, and we already talked about the other one. So, Chad, my starts this week, my first start, he was one of my starts in week 1, and he had not such a good game, but he's going to have a good game this week, and that is because Terry McLaurin, Chad, Scare Terror himself, this guy's the real deal, man. All right. Real freaking deal. Washington going on the road against Cleveland. Let me tell you why Scare Terror is going to have a good game. How many yards has the Cleveland Browns defense given up to the wide receivers so far this season, Chad?
7 million.
Yeah, good call. 400 yards through the air. I'm sorry, not 400, 500. Math. And by 500, I mean 600. What? I'm looking at the wrong number. 600 yards, Chad, through the air. 600 yards. That's what that defense has given up. Week one they gave up 101 yards to Marquise Brown. Week 2, Tyler Boyd had him a day with 72 yards and a touchdown on the day. Look, Scary Terry is gonna feed, man. Trust me on this. Just come with me, BroMob. Come to me to the Scare Terror land. What is happening? I don't know what's happening with my hands, but Chad, Scare Terror is my guy. Another guy, subcategory wide receiver start, DJ Shark. All right. slow start to first 2 weeks of the season. All right. Here's the deal. DJ Shark is by far the most talented wide receiver on that team. Okay. Get him in your lineup, play him with confidence. This is the week he has an explosion. Miami, Minshew, Shark. They're in Miami where there are sharks in the water. DJ Shark is. Can we get a Jaws song for DJ Shark? He's going to have a shark attack. All right. DJ Shark. Get him in your lineup. Shark attack. It's week 3, shark attack. This is Shark Week. All right. I can keep going. Shark Week. All right. Get your shark attacks ready. Come with me. What is this? This is a fin. What's a fin? Right here.
You need to stop what you're doing.
Shark attack. Dude, give me some DJ Shark this week, guys. Running back position, Joshua Kelly. Chad, we talked about him earlier. You were actually asking me, should I start him? And I said, no, but BroMob, you should. Chad's got a lot of depth. All right. So you don't sit. Look, we know why. All right. Tell BroMob real quick why you're not sitting or why you're not starting Joshua Kelly this week.
Oh, BroMob. I have Derrick Henry and I have Aaron Jones.
All right, so moving on. That's the reason why Joshua Kelly's not. You don't sit those guys.
I'm the best.
You do not sit those guys. All right, so Joshua Kelly, get him in your lineup. The Chargers are at home again against Carolina. Here's the deal, Chad. Joshua Kelly has 35 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown on the season. He's added some. I think 2 catches through the air for like an extra 40 some yards, but 12 and 12.3 fantasy points back-to-back weeks. I like oh my God, who am I talking about? Joshua Kelly. I saw Minshew's name and my eyes went to Minshew, if I'm going to be completely honest. Some of the notes.
Normally they do.
So I'm going back to DJ Shark and Minshew. Joshua Kelly going to have him a game. All right. So I like Joshua Kelly this week a lot. Get him in your lineups. And at quarterback, other than Minshew, I like Ben Roethlisberger this week. He is at home against Houston. And here, I just want to go through the stats here. Houston's defense has given up 34 and 27 points to opposing offenses. Now, you might say 27 points, Brian. That doesn't make sense. Baltimore scored 33. Well, their defense scored some points. Okay, guys, get your minds right. But Mahomes, 211 yards and 3 touchdowns against this defense. Lamar, 204 and 1 touchdown, but he didn't really need to throw the ball that much because the offense ran the ball for 230 rushing yards.
Yeah.
230 rushing yards, Chad. Not only that, I would also look to start James Conner against this defense as well, because clearly they can't stop the run either. This is a Houston defense that is not what we thought it was. It is not as good as we thought. Okay. I like Benny Ben this week. Get Roethlisberger in your lineups. He should have a pretty good game. And I like the receivers in Pittsburgh, and I like James Conner. I think Pittsburgh's going to handle the Houston Texans.
And you like Sharks.
Oh my God. Love Shark Week. Love Shark Fins. Love me Shark Attacks. Anything shark related, get it in your lineup.
Who you streaming defense wise?
Thanks for keeping me on track. Streaming defense, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, back-to-back weeks. They're going to have a good game. They're on the road against Denver. Tough to play in that elevation, but they'll get it done. Denver's decimated, man. I want to play any defense against that offense right now. So they're only owned in 50% of ESPN leagues. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think there are far worse streams you could be using at defense this week.
Agreed. Mine's better. Chargers against Carolina. Anybody that plays Carolina, play them. End of story.
Yes.
Only rostered 29% of leagues. Go get them.
How? Also question mark. How? Like one of the most talented defenses in the league. How? That secondary is legit. The pass rush legit. Like how? So yeah, I'm with you on the Chargers. That was going to be my pick, and then I saw you had them, and I just didn't want to roll with. So I saw Buccaneers. I'm like, okay, what is better? Actually, I do prefer the Chargers over the Buccaneers, but Buccaneers not a bad choice if Chargers are not there.
I meant I'm better.
Oh, well, that's not true. And we both know that.
I disagree.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about some baddie bads, some no-nos,
some
Odies.
Some temper expectationos.
Yeah, some. I'm going as far as saying to sit him, except for maybe one guy.
This first guy, yes, 100%. I'm with you. By the way, sit.
Yeah, I'm sitting 100%. Stephen Diggs, Buffalo Bills wide receiver. Look, against the LA Rams, he's gonna get Jalen Ramsey treatment, and I ain't liking it. This is the week where we see what type of player Josh Allen is. He's played some terrible defenses in the Jets and the Miami Dolphins, and now he's got the Rams, and he's going to have Aaron Donald in his face constantly. So let's see what happens. I'm on the side of nothing really good happening, and Stephon Diggs is not going to do well because of the nothing good happening. Get my
So real quick, I will say I get it if you're a Josh Allen fan and you have him on your team. I'm with you. I have him as well in many leagues. I'm deeply considering not playing him this week because I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be playing him when I find out that, oh man, his 300 and 400 yard games were really just terrible defenses. And you get a 200 yard. Now I will say, if you don't have many options, like the guys we just talked about, or there's just nothing out there, then, look, you got to roll with him because the rushing yards will be enough to kind of give you a decent floor. But the rushing yards really weren't there all that much this past week.
Nope.
So, well, exactly. So
my rush.
No, it's not. But my point is anytime Aaron Donald is running at you, scary stuff. So I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm also scared for you because you jumped in front of me and you started talking about your guys during my segment. So why don't you back off?
I'm backing off.
He's scared. Todd Gurley, Atlanta Falcons. Don't like him against Chicago. I think the Falcons are going to look a little less potent on offense. Potables. What? Against the Chicago Bears. This is a really good defense. I mean, they're back to being good. Let's just say that. And Todd Gurley hasn't looked good. I mean, he's got the opportunities in this offense, but he has not been efficient at all. I thought he was going to do pretty good this season. And maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, but I ain't seen it, Todd Gurley. And I'm not seeing it in week 3. Keep him on your bench. Throw him in the flex maybe and temper expectations. Or try to find somebody like, Nightmare Terror. Start him. Maybe start some Joshua Kelly. I would start Joshua Kelly 1,000% over Todd Gurley this week.
Yeah,
I was
going to say, I'm just trying to tell you, yeah, I would as well.
Okay. Thank you for agreeing.
Okay.
I'm cranky. And then finally, quarterback Matt Ryan. Look, I'm looking to temper expectations. It's going to be a rough week for Atlanta. That's all I'm going to say. Chicago's going to be a tough defense to play against. They're in Atlanta, so there's that, but there's no such thing as home field advantage in my eyes anymore without actual fans in the stadium keeping things loud. So what's benefited Matt Ryan so far this season has been the fact that he's had to throw it 40, 50 times in a game to keep up, right? And I just don't see Chicago scoring much against them. So there's no reason for Matt Ryan to throw the ball 40 or 50 times. He doesn't need to throw it for 3 to 4 touchdowns. I could see him having a 270-yard passing, 2-touchdown game, maybe throw up 15 points in fantasy world, but that's not what you're looking for out of Matt Ryan. I mean, he's putting up 20s and 30s. I just don't see that happening against Chicago. Not just because they're a good defense, but because there's no need for it. There's no necessity.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you. My sits, Chad, the first one's a big name, and he was drafted high. I get it. He's a guy that I just do not like. I never have. I don't think I ever will. Julio Jones, wide receiver, Atlanta Falcons on the road. They're on the road in Chicago. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. I just don't think. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Calvin Ridley is the guy I want to own on this team. It's clear to me now that the torch has been passed, in my opinion. Julio Jones still going to have those games where he has his blow up game. Probably has 170 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game to make his stats look good at the end of the year. He's the guy I do not want. Even if he does do that this week, the risk of him having 3 catches for 28 yards is huge. And so this is a game where I think Chicago runs the ball heavily, tries to keep their offense on the field, tries to keep their offense off the field. They're in Chicago. Matt Ryan doesn't typically play well unless he's indoors, historically speaking. So I'm just not in. I'm not in on him at all this week. Another guy, big name, running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens, Chad. Real quick, I believe the Ravens have literally surrendered. I think it's like less than 200 yards on the season. They have not had one single person rush for 100 yards on the year. I don't see that happening at the hands of a rookie. I just don't. And so I absolutely love Clyde rest of season and against any other matchup except for this matchup. So if you have better options other than Clyde, I would look to them, and I'd look to them heavily. And then quarterback Josh Allen, we just talked about it. He's a temper expectations / sit guy. Again, at home against the Rams. The good news is with this game is they're at home. Okay, they're not on the road. So the Rams have to travel across the United States to Buffalo. So that's the only good news with Josh Allen. But I would temper your expectations if you're rolling him out there. You're probably not getting a 30 to 40 point week out of him.
Yeah, you're not getting the number 1 quarterback in fantasy week out of him.
No, you might actually get less than a top 12 performance.
Yeah, I could see him being number 15.
Sure, like which still might, honestly, the way quarterbacks have been scoring, still might be a 20-point game.
But agreed. But if someone else has, let's say Gardner Minshew throws in 25, 26 points, they got a 5 or 6 point advantage on you.
Yeah, Minshew's a guy that I think you could flex in there, and he has considerably less risk against the Miami Dolphins this week. You're likely going to have a good game from him, and you don't have to worry about the risk of Josh Allen underperforming due to the matchup.
Yeah, the good thing about playing the Miami Dolphins is that Ryan Fitzpatrick slings the ball. Like, he just goes out there and he wants to score 50 points every game. And he doesn't care if he throws his arm out doing it. Like, he's just going to throw it all over the place. So I like that Gardner Minshew is playing against that. He's going up against Uncle Rico. Yeah,
no kidding. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, BroMob, that is going to be it for our starts and sits for direct and guaranteed. Don't understand why it's guaranteed, but it's guaranteed, BroMob. Start and sit advice. Head over to jointhebromob.com. I think it's $2, and you get this guy, and you're not gonna get a lot of that guy because he's no bueno. That guy right there.
Look, I'm the guy you want every time, except for these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, except for the last 2 weeks. Apologies.
Yes, absolutely.
BroMob, that's going to be it for this week's show too. Be sure to tune in every single Wednesday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football leagues.
Absolutely. And like Chad said before, not to beat a dead horse, join thebromob.com. Head over there. Look, you can ask us questions about your roster. You can get sit advice. You can send us information on your roster. We'll help you. We'll give you guidance directly, and we guarantee a response. Okay, so you'll absolutely get a response. So we get a lot of messages. We get inundated with messages and comments and requests for advice, and we feel bad because we can't get to you guys all the time online. This is a place that we can go to that's centric, that you can submit those questions, and because we're asking for a donation of $2, we guarantee that we give you a response. So head over to jointhebromob.com. We appreciate any donations that you give us. It helps us keep the show alive.
BroMob, I mean, you could ask what type of pie is best and we'd be willing to answer.
Yeah, we'd get to it quickly, Chad.
What do you think?
Yeah, key lime.
Oh no,
dude, key lime pie is legit. Apple pie is right there. Pumpkin pie, not bad too. I'd say. You want to go? Do you?
Yeah, we're gonna.
I see how it is. We're about to get real. Apple pie is
one every time.
Key lime pie is my immediate go-to. Then it's apple, then it's pumpkin, and then it's a pivot into cheesecake.
Yeah, we're out of pies.
Yeah,
and cheesecakes. I agree with the cheesecake. It's the only thing smart you've said. Look, I'm angry.
You got really serious.
Pie is good if it's made well. Apple pie can be good even if it's crappily made.
Listen, I'm gonna need you to point your shoulders away from me. It's giving me a little bit of a. I will come through the screen right now.
You see this beard?
You see this non-beard? I can't even grow one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. I'll still come through that screen.
You
need to wrap this show up.
Okay. We're going to wrap it up, but we're going to talk Franklin about pie.
I'm going to get Franklin after you. You hearing this stuff?
Franklin's going to agree. All right, BroMob. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm so angry. At FF Bros. I can't even speak. FF Bros Podcast. Follow us. That's Twitter. It's Instagram. Be sure to check out our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of articles, rankings, and so much more. Brian, you and I are about to argue. Let's talk about pies. BroMob, we're going to see you next week.